Hi guys. It's been a while. But I wanted to chat today a little bit because it's so important to talk about what I have to talk about today. And I have to be honest, I didn't share live on my regular Facebook page because I'm just not so sure that I can be so outspoken about this publicly, just because it's affected my life personally. So obviously it's something that is very difficult for me to talk about, but I feel like I should talk about it. And I feel like, if anything, I should help spread the awareness and, in general, information. And really what I wanted to talk about today was a little bit about my own personal feelings and thoughts as well, and what I've been struggling with. So, depression is something that a lot of people experience and don't talk about, especially men. Men ages 24 or 25 to 54 are of the highest rate of U.S. citizens who commit suicide, probably because they don't talk about it. They don't talk about their feelings. They don't share about certain things like women do more often, and because they're in a much more high pressure situations. Often they're the carrier of they're providers for their family, and when in those age ranges, what happens often is they will lose their job or their relationships, or something catastrophic may happen that they feel is at the end of their life, or that that they'll never be able to recover from. And because they've had no way to, they haven't reached out for support in other ways throughout their whole lives, they don't know how to reach out for that support when it's really needed. And it's no one else's fault for not knowing that these people are struggling. Half the time you would never know that they were, but maybe if we were a little bit more aware of some signs and symptoms of people who often attempt or commit suicide, then we could be more aware and be more helpful. So if someone is struggling in an area of their life, if people are talking in depressed thoughts, saying things like they don't want to live anymore, or that they don't know why they're here, or nothing is ever, they're never good enough. Lots of shame and guilt talk. But the thing is really to be looking out for is also whether or not someone has a need. You can ask someone straight out when they're feeling sad or depressed, or if you hear someone talking about how bad their life is, it is okay to just ask straight out, has that ever made you think about killing yourself or ending your life? If we say hurting yourself, that's different. So be very clear. But I'll be honest, I have never asked that question in my sessions until I went to this wonderful seminar on suicide prevention. And afterward, I asked every single one of my patients if they were suicidal, and almost every single one of them told me yes. It was crazy. Of the ones that I asked, almost every single one said yes. And had I never asked them, I would have never known. And I was able to help a lot of them get through some really difficult times without having to go to the hospital, without having to put them in a less supportive, extremely high, intense, overwhelming situation. We were able to connect and support and listen and talk. And in that moment, that connection, that support, knowing they weren't alone, knowing they had someone to go to, knowing they could connect, was something that was very powerful and made the difference. And some of the other tools and resources I was able to share had also been very helpful. And now that doesn't mean that had things been different in my past and the relationships that I've had, would that be any different? I don't know. I can't say that. But what I can say is I know now the things that I would be more aware of. So change in life, huge changes in life. The other thing is a means. So does someone have a means to hurt themselves? Is someone abusing drugs or alcohol? Is someone hoarding their medication? A lot of older age people actually commit suicide because they feel like they have no more reason to live and they hoard medication that they're taking. So these are things to just be aware of. Lots of older people are also more prominent for suicide because they have less support. And as we get older in age, people around us die and we have less people to be there for us. So that's something to be aware of. Call your, grandparents, call your loved ones and your elderly family members and friends, and just connect with them at some point. Show support. Be direct, right? Ask people straight out. That's what I had said before. I'm trying to think of the things I missed. I'm sorry. Encourage them to talk about it and connect with them. Tell people, it must be so difficult to share this with me, and I thank you so much for sharing it. Thank them for being honest. Thank them for talking about something that's so difficult. Let them know that you're there for them, that you'll help them through it. Let them know that you'll help make phone calls. I always give out the suicide prevention or crisis hotline, which is 1-800-273-TALK. But sometimes somebody doesn't want to do that. They need your help. I always ask my patients, do you want me to call with you? Do you want me to call for you? Do you want to talk through it together? If it's the case of they're in immediate danger and they're, ready to commit this act at that moment, that support, that connection could save someone's life. And letting them know that you'll walk them through it. You'll be there with them, that you can't relate. Maybe you don't know how they're feeling, but that you want to know and that you want to help support them. I have a few websites that I also think are great for men, since men struggle so much in this area and they have very little support or very little awareness. There's an organization called mantherapy.org. It's a self-assessment and screening for suicide. So men can actually go on there and take a little quiz and help them get a better understanding of their mental health and wellness. Isn't suicide hotline finally getting a 3-digit number? I thought that was so great. I saw it on the Today Show. I did not hear that, Heather. I'm so excited to hear that, but that is amazing and should be the case. But yeah, as of right now, I'm not aware. If you do know, I will look it up and I will share it here, though, if that is the case. So some of the other resources that I have are mantherapy.org, which is a screening and self-assessment for men. Another one is nowmattersnow.org. Nowmattersnow.org. I'll write these all below. This is a site for skill building. It's training, resources, help for people. It's amazing, that site. I really, really love that one. And then the other one is livethroughthis.org, and that's videos of suicide survivors, people who have attempted suicide and have survived, and it's their stories. So that can be very helpful for people who are struggling and need someone to relate to or feel alone. Another little resource I have is the Virtual Hope Box. I've talked about this before here. The Virtual Hope Box is an app. You can download it on any smartphone, and it's a little safe place to store photos, voice recordings. So if you know that you're struggling or someone you know is struggling, things that might make them not want to kill themselves in that moment might be hearing their child's voice, or hearing someone they love say, you're going to get through this. You can record things, you can record songs, you can put YouTube videos on there, there's distraction apps, there's relaxation techniques on there. So that's a good little app to keep on your phone. And in general, just having this number stored in your phone, if that three-digit number comes out, it'll be amazing. And if not, get this number in your phone so that way you have it to help you. Even you can call the National Crisis Prevention Line and you can ask what to do in the case that you need help with someone else that you aren't sure what to do. feel free to reach out to me as well if you fear that someone you know or you love is struggling and you're not sure how to present that, like, but you think that maybe they are suicidal or thinking about it. Something I wanted to talk about just generally here was I have been on my medication, and I was off for 3 days because I was sick and I was at this wedding. So for 3 days I hadn't taken my medication, and I was thinking to myself at one point, like, I don't know, do I even need this? Like, maybe I feel so much better. Maybe it was just like a moment of time where I needed it. And then I thought, like, after 3 days, my thoughts started to creep in, and these little self-doubting, very, if you want the truth, kind of scary thoughts settle in, like, you're not good enough, or, everything's so terrible. Things should just, I just wish this would be over. My life's so horrible. It's like, my life is not so horrible, but in those moments, in these moments throughout the day or whatever, when I'm having a really hard time, those thoughts actually slip through my head. And I've had people, friends of mine, come straight out and ask me, like, have you ever been suicidal? Or are you thinking about hurting yourself? And I've been so grateful for them to ask me. I haven't felt judged or feared or they think I'm crazy or anything like that. I know they love me and support me, and I know that they just want to make sure I'm okay. And thankfully, I've never had true thoughts of hurting myself. But I've had fleeting thoughts, right? And I think a lot of people do. These thoughts of like, oh, it'd be better if I just wasn't here. And we see that so easily, but really some people struggle with that so much more. And even me, I noticed that without this medication that I'm on, those thoughts are a little bit more prominent. Not that I think I personally at this point, I don't know if I'd ever do anything about them, but you never say never, right? And you want to be aware, and you have to be aware that these things are real, and that mental illness can spiral out of control without proper care or treatment. So, I truly believe in like all natural and being, one with the earth in a lot of ways, but for me personally, I have really seen how this medication has helped me in a lot of ways. And when I look back on that alone, just knowing like how my thoughts went from so like worthless and hopeless and just kind of down and out to when struggles happen in my life, I don't feel that anymore, right? I don't feel those thoughts. They don't creep up. They don't linger. Like, that's pretty awesome. And now that's me, with more of a mild case of the depression. I've explained that, like, in my bipolar disorder, I'm more on the manic end, but that's with me at a mild depression. I can't imagine what it must be like for someone suffering with severe depression, or who is suffering so long in such a lengthy episode of depression, to overcome that, to overcome those thoughts without medication or help or support. We really have to just be more aware of ourselves, and that we have the ability to help if we just stop being so scared to talk about it. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I don't just want to rattle them all off here. And there are a lot of very personal thoughts. So I think, if anything, I'm going to end this. But know that I'm here if you guys need to talk. If you've ever felt like this before, know that I can relate, in those thoughts. And I've had this experience as a personal survivor of suicide, and I can be there for you if you need me. So just wanted to share that today. I will put the number below on these websites if you guys are interested. All right. And if anyone has any like more specific questions they want to talk to me personally about, feel free to PM me. All right, guys, have a great night. Bye.